Hi guys, and welcome to a new video on Sonal's Life. Now I know it's been a hot minute since I have last done a video, I'm very sorry, but I am back for the 2024 Forbidden Door review. Now for anyone who doesn't know and has stumbled across my video, Forbidden Door is basically a collaboration between AEW and New Japan. Well, it was traditionally. We now have more companies involved, so we have CMLL and Stardom. Now as you can see, I'm repping a Jay White Chaos shirt. That is because I am slightly bitter that we had like a 5.5 hour show and there was no Switchblade. However, we are going to put that aside and we are going to quickly zoom through every match on the card. I think including the Buyin, which is free and you can watch online. There was like 15 matches, a mix of title, singles, tags. It was actually insane. So let's get going. Okay, so we started with the Buyin. Now, I'm not going to go through like all of my thoughts on this because like I said, there are a lot of main matches to go through on the actual card. But we had Kyle Fletcher defeating Serpentico. Now, can I just say that this pre-card, I guess pre-main card, was actually full of some amazing stars. So we had that. We had Malachi Black and Brody King defeating the odd team. So we had Ishii and Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong and Gabe Kidd, and then Private Party. So again, massive names from all of these companies. We then had Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano defeating Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe. And then Mariah May defeating Saraya for the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. And I think most shockingly, we had, and I think this was the final match on the pre-show, we had Penta El Zero, Rey Fenix, and Mystico defeating Los Ingobernables de Japón trio, Yota Tsuji, Titan, and Hiromu Takahashi. Again, like this proves the quality of caliber on the main card, that you had like the 3 members of Los Ingobernables de Japón on the pre-show. But yeah, it was an amazing way to get started. Like I didn't watch it live because I needed at least a few hours sleep before the main card. But it was a really nice way of getting people to want to buy the card because you've seen already wrestlers from all 4 companies, and then obviously we've got like some Ring of Honor as well, so it was insane. So if you think that, we're gonna go into the main card. Now personally, like the first match wasn't really something for me. It was MJF, who obviously he'd made the big return from injury, facing Hechicero. Now I didn't really know anything about Hechicero before this. However, like he has wrestled some amazing guys in New Japan. He has done loads of different mini matches that I've managed to watch. He had like some match against Zack Sabre Jr. and that. So this match was interesting. You could tell they were in New York. That is MJF's home ground. He was very much the babyface, the big star in this. The match was great. I think it was fine. I didn't really love or hate it. Again, it's not really anything that applied to me. But really nice way to start it. MJF got the win. I'm not really surprised about that. But it's nice to start with a singles match. We then got into a very conflicting match for me. So we saw the Elite, so the Young Bucks, but I don't think they go by that now. They go by Matthew Jackson and Nicholas Jackson, who are teaming with their fellow Elite member, New Japan's Kazuchika Okada. But now he's not New Japan's Kazuchika Okada, he's All Elite Wrestling's Kazuchika Okada. Pyow. They were facing the team of Scissor Ace, so Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. And it was a reunion of Okada and Tanahashi because Hiroshi Tanahashi was on the other team. Now, before Okada left for AEW, he was obviously very good friends with Tanahashi. Their iconic rivalry had come together. They had joined forces for hatred of Jay White. And they almost left on good terms. But obviously, since Okada went to AEW, he's now a dick. And he was really playing that up in the match. So it was interesting to see them on opposing sides again. The match was very much babyface versus heel. So the Scissor Ace came out with a really hot rap. I don't really know if it's good or not because I can't compare it. But I think it was a nice way to get everyone excited for the match. The interactions were great. Obviously for me, the main ones were seeing Okada and Tanahashi together. Even before the two were legally tagged in, you could see Okada going for Tana. It was a really nice mix of all the styles. Okada was so heel, it was amazing. Like at one point when they were doing the big, the pan out for the Rainmaker pose and he just stuck his middle finger up and I was like, whoa, Okada. Shockingly, Shacho, President Tanahashi, got the pin. It's very odd because we have a huge match coming up at, I think it's still the New Japan Soul shows, ahead of the G1, where Tanahashi is basically fighting for a chance to be in the tournament. So this loss is massive for him, and whether it will play out in that match will be interesting. We then had a phenomenal singles match. Now this was for the men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and it was Dragon versus Dragon, as we had the American Dragon Bryan Danielson facing the Japanese Dragon Shingo Takagi. I think if I had to pick a match of the night, I think it was probably this one. I didn't know what to expect going in. You have two amazing athletes, but from start to end, this was amazing. What was quite nice is obviously Bryan Danielson is one of the most loved wrestlers. So Shingo really played on that, and it was nice to see him heel it up. There was obviously very big difference in style. So Bryan Danielson chose to stick on the mat, his submission game. Not the best technical wrestler in the world or the best submission specialist, because that's ZSJ. But we then saw Shingo counter that with his athleticism and his strength. At some point I was like, yo, Shingo is winning this, but Bryan Danielson got the win. It was actually like a match I would love to see again on like a bigger stage, maybe in like Japan or something, because the chemistry between the two dragons was unmatched. Between them, they both have decades of experience, whether it was Bryan Danielson going from the independents to WWE to AEW, or Shingo Takagi going through the Japanese process of wrestling like Dragon Gate, and then obviously coming to New Japan. So it was great. I want to see it again. It was a really nice break in it as well, because like I said, this card has singles matches, tag matches, but to have something statement like this for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament was really good, and it got Shingo on the main card, which is very much deserved. We then had the women's match. So this was for the AEW Women's World Championship. Now, I know that AEW have been criticised in the past for their bookings, but this was actually phenomenal because it was wider than just wrestling. There was a story. So you have the champion Toni Storm and the competitor Mina Shirakawa. And it was quite interesting because Mariah May was the big factor in this. So when Mariah May was in Stardom, she was champion with Mina. But now she's come to AEW and she's the protege of Toni Storm. So this very much played from the beginning. So you saw Mariah at the start struggling to choose alliances. And then within the match itself, she was always a constant factor, never getting involved. But you could see that both women were really like fighting to have her. It's like an opposite of, you know, like male wrestlers fighting for a female. It was females fighting for females, and I love that because it proves that sometimes the best relationship you can have is with fellow women. And the match itself was great. I've never really watched Mina, but she is a phenomenal feisty wrestler, and I know Toni Storm. She is perfectly combining her wrestling skills that we know she has, but with this character of timeless Toni Storm. In the end, Toni got the win, but it's really nice in the end. All three women came in the ring, they had a triple kiss, and it showcases that, you know what, wrestling is a sport, but at the end of the day, it's bringing people together. So yeah, we had, after an amazing women's match, we then had Orange Cassidy facing Zack Sabre Jr. Now this lead up to it is, you couldn't have two wrestlers who are any more different. Zack Sabre Jr. is the submission specialist, very methodical. Orange Cassidy is more of a character, you know, he's lackadaisical, persona by himself, you know, wrestling with his hands in his pockets, the denim jacket. But as Zack has pointed out ahead of this match, anyone who thinks that Orange Cassidy can't wrestle is a fool, because he can turn it on, and that's what he did. From the very beginning, there was none of them messing about. I think Zack expected that, but he went full throttle. He was trying to counter Zack with his submission, using his high flying, his speed, his athleticism, because he is massively athletic, Orange Cassidy. And I don't know if anyone who knows in the UK, he reminds me of Ricky from the Kaiser Chiefs. If you know what I'm talking about, please let me know. But this match was really fast and dynamic because, you know what, while Zack is a submission specialist, he's also very fast. We saw him do the lackadaisical kicks, but then obviously he changed it up to do his PK. And in particular, the closing moments of this match were phenomenal because we saw roll-up, counter, and you didn't know who could win. But obviously, ahead of G1 season, Zack Sabre Jr. got the win. And I think there is an unwritten respect between the two. And I really, really liked that. So yeah, after a really amazing match, I was kind of let down by this next match. So it was a trios match. So it was Samoa Joe, Hook and Shibata facing Chris Jericho, Big Bill and Jeff Cobb. The match itself, I didn't really find any interest in it. I liked seeing Jeff Cobb and Samoa Joe in the ring. My problem is, Jeff Cobb is the New Japan World Television Championship. Ahead of Forbidden Door, he was bringing out, like, amazing promos, like, who's going to challenge me? Who's going to challenge me? Why are you putting the man in a 6-man tag match? Jeff Cobb is a phenomenal wrestler. He has really been advocating for New Japan, and for me is the perfect champion. So why are you putting him in this meaningless match that really in the long scheme, because he's a New Japan guy, means nothing? I think really this might have been the only flaw of the entire card. But yeah, guys, treat Jeff Cobb better, please. He has a title. Basically every other champion had a title match, apart from him. Why? Yeah, so that was like a blip. But then again, we got back onto it. We had a ladder match for the AEW TNT Championship. It was very nice because there was a nice mix of competitors. We had Jack Perry, Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Dante Martin, Leo Rush, and my boy ELP, who since he has lost all of his Tongan friends, has gone mad. He was doing a Despy Invitational with Lego and shit. Now he's doing a ladders match. This match was really chaotic in a very good way. There was a lot of athleticism within the participants. Then you had the strength of Takeshita. And obviously, I mean, he's elite now, but House of Torches, Jack Perry. The addition of the ladders made it exciting. There was not like any moments where you're like, this person is stupid. Why are they not doing it? There was some. So for example, Mark Briscoe was at the top and could have easily got the title, but he decided to jump off into like a crowd of people. Understandable, it works. But yeah, it was very nice change of pace. It was the only real gimmick match of the entire card, which was very refreshing. And it worked perfectly. It didn't go too long. It went about 16 minutes, which was nice enough to give every man his chance to shine, including my boy ELP. In the end, Jack Perry got the win. No cheating, no House of Torture, which I still like to say though, he got this win. This is gold for the House of Torture. But yeah, really nice match to change the pace ahead of the 3 really big title matches. We then had a title versus title, so it was winner takes all. It was Mercedes Moné, who is the TBS champion, versus Stephanie Vaquer, who is, along with 5,000 CMLL titles, is the New Japan Strong Women's champion. Going into this, the crowds were a bit shitty. So at first they were for Mercedes, then Stephanie, then they realised, obviously, Monet's from Boston, I believe, so there was a lot of chanting on that. For me, we know what Mercedes Moné could do, but as I've been watching these shows and Stephanie has been the strong champion, I have fallen in love with her style. She has a very dark persona and it matches with her in-ring style. This was a very dynamic match. It was quite interesting that Mercedes Moné was taking in the heel heat and Stephanie was just getting the crowd more and more pumped with her style. Going into it, I knew Stephanie was sadly going to lose the title. It was obvious. But I really want Stephanie to keep making her presence known. She seems like a really nice person outside the ring as well, because she recently appeared on Shingo Takagi's YouTube channel. I'll see if I can link that somewhere. And their interactions were so wholesome. So yeah. That title match went on to, I guess, the biggest one for me as a New Japan fan, as we saw the IWGP World title be defended. So Jon Moxley obviously defeated Naito back in Chicago in April, and Naito wanted his title back. There's been a lot of discourse ahead of this match of obviously like Moxley took the title captive and stuff, and this was Naito's way of bringing it back. Now I'm going to be honest, the match itself was fine. You could see Naito getting Moxley riled up. There was like chairs, there was outside. The match felt kind of discombobulated. While the opening stretch was fine, I think this match went 17 minutes. So the opening parts were great. We saw a bit of personality as Moxley got more and more irritated with Naito. Naito's smile got bigger. The offense was great. But the end felt very abrupt. It felt like, so Naito hit a Destino earlier on and then Moxley hit his finisher. they had too many, they had too many people on commentary for this match. There was 4, including JR, who I was never a fan of when he did New Japan commentary. Generally, the commentary was all AEW. There was too much heel, babyface between the people themselves, which sort of drew away from, I think, the wrestling at some points. But I think their commentary really didn't help the match. So at one point when Naito hit the Destino, they're like, oh, okay, this is time. Like, this is to get the win. When most 99% of New Japan fans will know that it normally takes Naito 2 Destinos to get the win, especially in these big matches. And so everything felt off to me. And I hate to say that because this was the match I was looking forward to. In the end, Naito did get the win with the Destino, but the abruptness of the ending, the disconnect with the commentary, it just felt wrong. I almost felt like you needed, especially for this match, someone from the New Japan team. If you couldn't get Walker or Chris, Rocky was there in the building, have him on commentary. So I was sad. I think this was the biggest disappointment, just because I felt like there was so much potential going through it and it just sort of fell flat at the end. However, the main event really made up for it, and I feel like maybe it was cut short just for that. The final match was for the AEW title, and it was Swerve Strickland, the champion, facing Will Ospreay. This match was everything you would have expected from the two men. It was fast, it was dynamic. There was actually a really nice bit of storytelling in it. So the two guys are, I think, very evenly matched with their skills. They're very different, but they each bring something new. And what was quite interesting was the use of storytelling within it. So at one point, you could see Ospreay really struggling. So Don Callis came. Now, at first, I was like, fuck, this is not going well, because he handed him a screwdriver. But we saw Ospreay's inner demons fighting. So while at first he was throwing it out, he was like, I am not using this screwdriver on Swerve. Swerve was with Prince Nana, and you could see this aggression. Ospreay was realising, I'm not getting this done, I can't do it. Do I need to resort to bad tactics? The anger was taking over. And what I like is that there was like a really nice flow throughout this match. So we saw each guy getting the advantage. I know there was a massive thing when Ospreay hit the Stormbreaker and it was kicked out of, because for me personally, I can't remember the last time that ever happened. And it showed that these two guys might be different. Again, similar to the two dragons, they had very different upbringings in professional wrestling, very different roots. But at the core, they are both in love with pro wrestling. There was like obviously a bit of shenanigans, like I said with Don Callis. But at the core of it, it was a really amazing match. And at first I was a bit bitter because obviously it's New Japan and AEW traditionally. So we need to have a guy from AEW and a guy from New Japan for all these titles. And obviously that wasn't the case with this, because as much as we are sad to say it, Ospreay is no longer New Japan. So it was AEW versus AEW. However, it was a very good way to end an amazing pay-per-view. Of course, I had my grievances, but overall from that pre-show to the end, there was something for everyone. Most of the big names were involved. I was obviously very sad for like the omissions of Jay White, Sanada, Doki, Desperado, Taichi, you know, all my favourites. But I feel like there was a nice balance throughout. So yeah, I tried to keep it very brief because this was a very long pay-per-view. But I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of worries going forward. This was going to be very unequal because we've had criticisms of the New Japan AEW relationship. Well, I don't think it was all equal and perfect, and I'll probably speak about that later on. It was a very good match to watch as a New Japan loyalist. So you let me know in the comments what you thought. Let me know on social media at wrestling_chat your thoughts of the pay-per-view, your match of the night, which was your least favourite, who stood out the most. And again, guys, we're going up to G1 season, so it's a very exciting time for us New Japan fans. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to like and share and hit subscribe. I'm going to try and be back with a lot more videos going forward, especially like I said with the G1. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show like I did, because I was quite surprised. I didn't know what to expect. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you soon. Bye!